Okay, so I want you to pay attention to something. This is engineered light that's inside of my apartment right now. And so you can see my shadow, humongous size of my shadow. This is a sex offense. The entity that is demon possessed, demons are obsessed with stalking me, okay? These demons that don't want you to know that while they're engaging in a criminal system of surveillance are affiliated with law enforcement agencies who are obsessively pursuing me in helicopters day and night, and that's the body of evidence that I already have. I am also being obsessively pursued by a demon-possessed entity that are the people of the state who are monitoring me while this impossible light activity is all over the walls inside of my apartment, creating what is this monstrosity of a shadow. Okay, this is terrorism, and it's a sex offense. And the entity is keeping this light over this wall too. You can see it over here. This is P.O.C. This is constructive presence in the private space. This is showing a level of desperation. This is also documentation of what is terrorism. I'm holding my arm up. This is what is engineered light inside of my apartment. All right, like I said, the entity cannot, without you noticing, place you under surveillance. They can't do it while you're ignorant of it. You have to be mindful of the environment. All you have to do is pay attention. You will notice the sun over you for 12 hours in the day. You will notice the shadows above your head. You will notice your shadow appearing in the shade. You will notice when light is always seeming to appear out of nowhere, even if you sit away from light, and you'll notice how that light creeps to always invade your space and touch on you, which is what is coexisting with the ongoing pursuit by helicopters, which is what the Ontario Police Department, the Fontana Police Department, the Montclair Police Department, the Los Angeles Police Department and Ontario Police Department, in case I didn't mention those. In addition to the San Bernardino Police Department, when I was pursuing my civil suit against the state of California, which the entity, that is the Superior Court, the Appeals Court, and the Supreme Court denied my, unlawfully, understand, it's an unlawful denial of my First Amendment right to address in the public forum based on the denial of service of process. That's a very basic First Amendment right, okay? You don't engage in that level of such a basic denial of rights, but for the engagement in trying to obstruct justice, and that is conceal the pattern of conduct, which is exactly what I sought to bring suit against California for in 2019, I believe. The California Supreme Court engaged in denying me service of process as well. They have no grounds to deny service of process. Very basic fundamental right. You are engaging in that because it's a gross violation of your constitutional rights, and it's resulting in what is obstruction of justice. And this is also this is precipitating harm and damages and an ongoing threat to my life while this entity has sought to engage in repeatedly kidnapping. We're engaging in what is criminal defamation. And as you are seeing, the ongoing demonic system that's underway in the state of California, which is group stalking, and it is evidenced through the demonic environment. This has nothing to do with the sun, which, by the way, is documented maintaining presence over me while I remain outside of the Victoria Gardens Paul Bryan Library and nowhere in what is in Los Angeles. And then not only do you see this light activity, then you see the entity aiming light. Here it is. I want you to see this. This is my hand as I hold it up. This is ongoing stalking with light inside of the private space. The blinds are closed, okay? While the entity is then all of this light, this is glowing light. Then there's a concentrated light that I'm going to show you, but my room is lit up. It's illuminated. This is all engineered light. And then you have the concentrated light that's on my bed. And then this is magnification. The blinds are closed, okay? This is the ongoing pattern of conduct, and you have these same holes that are super magnified in size, and the entity is showing the leaves in the trees blowing in the wind, as I've already shown you. And there is no vantage point where the entity, that's a demon crossing path. That's the people of the state group stalking. That's why you keep a light source over this specific environment. And then you have what is, again, the delusional psychopaths that want to appear like they're doing something else. He's in engineered light. There's no sunlight that's going to be here while it's over the Paul Bryan Library. A demon that's walking back and forth. I'm getting a tool. I'm going to go back to the car. I'm going to go back and get another tool. That's a demon that's pacing in engineered light and is listening to every word that I'm saying. And in addition to that, while you're looking at the light activity inside of my living room, while you're remembering that impossible light that you saw this morning over this wall while my panties were down. I'd let you know about that detail while they were aiming that impossible light in here. While you're looking and remembering the entity aiming engineer light on the ceiling, and then you're dealing with a psychopath, demons who are pacing up and down the street, demons who are driving in relevant position there, demons who are group stalking, wanting to look like they're doing something else. They're stalking in the path. All right, being a sex offender, monitoring me while that light activity is inside of my apartment, my living room, engaging in what is a sex offense while keeping me under surveillance in concert with that entity, while a light source that is nowhere near the Paul Bryan Library, no vantage point that I could see it, and it's coexisting at the same time. That's the pattern of conduct. And that demon's name, who's a violent sex offender, is again Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal, who cannot get enough of monitoring me while my panties are down. That's a psychopath. Exactly. He's focused on me. That's P.O.C. And he's going straight to federal prison. He's going to federal prison. That's P.O.C. This is a psychopath that's engaging in monitoring, and he is monitoring in concert with the LAPD, and he's been focused on me the whole time while he's outwardly conducting himself like he's doing something else, and he's not. He's been monitoring the entirety of that time, and he's been pacing around in engineered light, and what you're looking at now is that ongoing hostility that he has maintained while he is documenting molesting with engineered light under the light source at the same property, by the way, while he's crossing path and engineered lights moving across the building while I was in front of building 1800 at 10 o'clock in the morning. Let's count the hours. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 7 hours. Right, that was the P.O.C. And so you're talking about what's the ongoing focus that he has while he's closing it and showing that hostility. That demon's monitoring the whole time. All right, and you're going to remember the light activity inside of my apartment while you're looking at a psychopath that's frustrated because I'm prosecuting him. He's listening to the truth about the fact that he's a sex offender, and he's monitoring me while my panties are down, and impossible light activity is always aimed inside of my apartment, on the upper walls, patterns above the doorway. That's what you're going to remember while the entity is group stalking by helicopter in the middle of the night on an ongoing basis, while the entity is showing what are the patterns, leaves blowing through closed blinds at the distance of the magnification on the wall. All right, and then you're looking at a demon that's showing hostility. That's going against the entity. That's a sex offender and a stalker that LAPD is acting vicariously in concert with to monitor me inside of my private space, and he's going to federal prison. All right, it is currently, by the way, this is engineered light that's appearing. You want to know what that is? That's light that's being aimed through the pattern of the blinds. That's projected light. That's impossible light activity. Okay, I can walk through it. Yeah, that's impossible light activity. That's the P.O.C., and it's also occurring at nightfall. All right, the entity is aiming impossible light through all of my bedrooms. All right, this is P.O.C., and that is a Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal, who is engaging in what is demonic pacing around. He's monitoring in the close proximity, and that demon knows what I'm saying in my living room. He knows what I'm saying while LAPD is flying over, and he's crossing path, and engineer light is swiping all across the buildings outside. He's monitoring while you're looking at that video that I captured yesterday in the morning, and you're looking at that same light source that's in alignment to me now in the evening, while a demon is hostile because he's being documented as a psychotic sex offender and stalker that he is on behalf of the state. This is documentation that you're going to juxtapose with what's going on in Rancho Cucamonga. Because there's no sun that's ever going to be visible through the window. That's very precise sky space. Very perfect alignment, just like you see. That's called stalking in the path with light. And that's what Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal is doing, pacing around a vehicle, wanting to look like he's working on a car, when he's actually a demon that's pacing around an engineer light like a cockroach, while demons are on Alvarado pacing up and down the street. That's the P.O.C. that's underway. And this is the light activity that you're going to remember while you have the demon possessed surrounding you, wanting to maintain an outward appearance of normalcy. And there's nothing normal about anything that they're doing. They're group stalking. Group stalking is criminal surveillance, and everybody at Alvarado Gardens, buildings 1800 through building 1818 is going to federal prison. Everybody. All right, this is the prosecution of the people of the state. The entity is engaging what is criminal surveillance through the people of the state that live in the 59 apartment units here, filled with third-party group stalkers who are also going to lose possession of their children, custody of their children. They will be losing their federal housing benefits. And then you're looking at a psychopath who's being documented, which the targeted individuals in this country will be documenting the entity, and they cannot like it all they want as they continuously threaten your life and harass you as an entity. That's the government speaking to you, being frustrated because you're enforcing your rights, not an individual. So that's the state showing hostility, which is an ongoing enhanced threat to your life while you are documenting it. And this psychopath is engaging in monitoring with LAPD every day, him and his wife, okay, living at the crime scene. He's going to federal prison, and that is an ongoing documented threat. He will be subject to what are mental examinations, which is, again, the demented mind state, the personality defect, that sick personality behind a demon-possessed person who's group stalking. All right, engaging in what is a secret system of surveillance in the state of California on behalf of the state. That's what LAPD is documented as engaging in at the same time today when I'm reminding you about the light source that's over me at the same time at 1:17 p.m. in Fontana, California. Okay, that's why Stephanie Ortiz is going to federal prison. All right, that same venue of the Fontana Lewis Library, the light switches over me in the morning, 9 o'clock, as I'm standing at the Fontana Fire Department, and I'm standing there at that same venue after 6 p.m. and the light source is still in alignment to me. That's the pattern of conduct, okay? Again, one venue where there will never be any sun here at Alvarado Gardens, but you're seeing the pattern. It's rising in alignment to me, and it's also setting in alignment to my bedroom, the same apartment. All right, that's in excess of 10 hours. That's a P.O.C., and that was a demon you saw expressing hostility that he's been bottling up, okay, because he's being documented, and I do not care. For purposes of prosecution, that's a threat to my life while the state is showing hostility. The state does the same thing by sounding helicopter engines every time I write down a third party's name. Todd Speaker is going to be prosecuted for this. Todd Speaker's company and Todd Speaker's property, which is 1800 Alvarado Gardens Apartments. This is civil and criminal prosecution while I am subject to the pattern of conduct in the workplace. And while the entity is engaged in what is the ongoing pattern of conduct in my private space, that's the sex offense, understanding the ongoing sex offense, that third-party group stalker, a demon-possessed group third party is engaging in on behalf of the state and then is hostile because I'm telling the truth about him and he's listening, wanting to look like he's not listening, but that's exactly what he demonstrated to you. He's listening to everything, and he's also listening while my panties are down. Knows exactly, and that light activity that you see inside of my apartment, that's how you know he knows what's going on while I'm inside of my private space. Again, it is currently 5:24 p.m. and this is documentation of the entity's maintenance of the light source inside of my private space. This is all filled with engineered light. This is engineered light that fills the wall. And I want to be clear, what you saw, what you heard Gabriel uttering is audible activity. It will also, the substance of that speech is also going to be analyzed. That's the entity that's speaking, that's threatening your life, that's stalking you obsessively in the specific environment. A government that's placing you under surveillance and using demonic ritualistic tactics in order to do so in a malicious manner that's also supposed to falsely depict the target individual as suffering from some mental incapacity, which is very threatening as a government is engaging in that malicious system. That's a threat to your life, all right, for which the entity shall be prosecuted. And at Alvarado Gardens, everybody's going to be prosecuted and they're going to federal prison. But the entity shall also be prosecuted with regard to what are civil damages in order to attempt to make the plaintiff whole. But again, that is something, the level of damages, this is a criminal system never before recognized under federal law, but this is something that has been long existing. The entity monitoring, the state of California monitoring, this is not new. The entity's been doing this for a long time. It just has not been exposed, okay? But the ability to recover and also the necessity of justice, and I mean far-reaching justice to stop the government from facilitating this criminal system with the people of the state who use their companies, who use their private residence, who use any and everything that they have at their disposal to facilitate this system. And they're doing so because they're of the same condition. These are demons that have positions in government, demons who are appearing on the surface to be everyday normal Americans, but they actually don't appear to be normal everyday Americans when you're aware that that everyday normal American supposedly has a light source over them for the extent of what is 11, 12 hours a day for a criminal purpose, all right, while they are monitoring someone in that environment, that specifically maintained environments for an ongoing purpose, a criminal purpose, all right? It's 5:26 p.m. and this is P.O.C.